And we'll do it live. We'll do it live as I fix my hair. Okay, the topic of today's subject is who ordered Charlie Kirk's assassination? Who is it that ordered Charlie Kirk to be assassinated? We don't have all the answers yet, but there are some things that we do know for sure about Charlie Kirk and the situation which was developing right before his death. So let me play this video for you of Charlie Kirk. I heard him on the radio saying this. I was driving in my car, actually in my van, my truck. I was driving between jobs. I think it was in Huntington Beach. And I heard Charlie Kirk come on and he was talking about this exact subject. It was amazing. I couldn't believe he was saying these things. If I can get it for you.
Pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now,
okay, listen to this.
These Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now,
wow. Now, did you hear that? I'm going to play that for you again. This is what we, the far right, neo-Nazi, fascist, KKK, blah, 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 have been saying since the beginning. This is what we were saying on the Daily Stormer back in 2013, 2014. The whole group that was on there, obviously, Andrew Anglin ran it. I didn't run it with him or something. I was just on there, comments, but that was the group. We were saying that the Jewish Mafia, the Anti-Defamation League, is doing all the things to us that they claim they want, other people to stop doing. So he's literally, Charlie Kirk at this point on this video that I'm watching right here is repeating and propagating the same things that we've been saying the whole time. And I believe that this may be the key to why Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Why Charlie Kirk was assassinated and who ordered the hit. Because Charlie Kirk was very much pro-Israel because of his Zionist interpretation of the Bible, which I believe is an incorrect interpretation. But that's the only real disagreement I have with Charlie Kirk, is I believe that Zionism is a false interpretation of the Bible. I do not believe that Jews are God's chosen people. I believe that the Israelites, Abraham was not a Jew. Jacob was not a Jew. Noah was not a Jew. Shem was not a Jew. In other words, there was this mythology created by Jews that they were all these other people, which they weren't. I remember reading Albert Pike calling Abraham a Jew. And I go, why is Albert Pike, he's supposed to be this smart guy who's very literate and very scholarly. Why would he call Abraham a Jew? That's so dumb to call Abraham a Jew when the Jews didn't exist until much later. So why would anyone call Abraham a Jew? And I asked this guy, who was the head of the Scottish Rite Freemasonry in Santa Ana, California. I said, hey, why does Albert Pike call Abraham a Jew? He's like, well, he's just referring to a certain group of people. In other words, he didn't know that Abraham wasn't a Jew. Obviously, Abraham wasn't a Jew. In fact, the name Abraham, which means the father of many nations, comes from the word Ab-Aram, which means the father of Aram, which is a race of people, the Aramaeans. The Aramaeans, and according to the Bible, they came down from the Caucasian mountains of Ararat during a migration from the Caucasus into the Middle East and also the further east. So this is the story of the Aryan migrations. All right. Now there's also, you got these different races in the area, whatever. I'm just saying in general, that's what it is. But so Charlie Kirk, and I'm not saying that the Aryans of that time were necessarily like the Swedes or something. They may have been related to the Swedes or the Scots or the Celts or somebody. They may have been. I don't know. I just know that the people from the Caucasus came down and became the people in what's later called Anatolia, and became the people of the Southern Caucasus, and became the people of northern Iraq, Syria, up there, that area. And they are white people. They are white Caucasian people. That territory is an area of white Caucasian people. And then you have, that's why you have the name Chemet. That means the dark people. So the other race that was down further south got sunburned and was called Chemet. Anyway, that's where you get the word Ham. But so so let's listen to Charlie Kirk though.
I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter.
That's true. See, this is the thing that the Anti-Defamation League doesn't want people airing on. They don't want people talking about what they're doing. The only thing I've ever said about the Anti-Defamation League on my show, and unfortunately, I don't have the same audience that he had. That's why they killed him. See, his audience was millions and millions of people. He was on mainstream, middle of the day, prime time, AM conservative talk radio. And I heard this on here. I heard him say this on there.
It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans.
Right. That's right. This is why they killed Charlie Kirk. This is why they killed Charlie Kirk. This is why they killed Charlie Kirk. You're listening to why did they kill Charlie Kirk right here. This is why they killed Charlie Kirk. This is it, I think.
It went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right?
Right. And who was what is that main group? I've been talking about it on my show a lot. Les Wexner over at Harvard. Les Wexner at Harvard. Remember how I've been telling you the Anti-Defamation League with the Jesuits has been backing violence against whites to kill whites. Now let me explain something to you. Why do these political groups like the Anti-Defamation League and so forth, why do they support black violence? Like, see, the other thing Charlie Kirk has been doing or was doing was talking about the violence against whites by blacks. Like there's a high rate of crime against white people, murders by black people against whites. Now, Charlie Kirk was talking about that. Why does the government tell you that doesn't happen? They don't report it. Because they want to ethnically cleanse areas of the United States and Europe of whites. And so they bring in foreign populations. And when they attack you and kill you, then you're just supposed to shut up and die. See, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. And Charlie Kirk was talking about this on his show. And they killed him. They killed him. They killed him. They killed him for this. Let's listen to some more.
Mark Rowan, Leon Copperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour. And Tucker Carlson mentions.
See how bad this is for the Anti-Defamation League and the Jewish Mafia? You've got Tucker Carlson. You've got Charlie Kirk. And they're both saying the same thing. In Charlie Kirk's case, he's even saying way more than Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is like, doesn't really say much, to be honest with you. But Charlie Kirk is literally saying that the Jewish mafia, this powerful Jewish mafia in Washington, D.C. and New York, and that controls these universities, have been sponsoring anti-white violence, killing whites. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. And that's why they shot him, I believe. That could be the motivation. That's why they haven't caught the sniper yet. He was sniped from about 200 yards away on a rooftop, and they haven't found him. The guy got away. It looks like a pro hit, not just because he hit his target, but because of the logistics, because of the timing, because of the fact that he was able to get on the roof, get off the roof. Nobody, other than there were some witnesses that had seen him running around up there. Ultimately, yeah, well, he had to get up there and run around, but he got up there, he got down, he got away. The police went after somebody else. So this is fascinating, but I believe this is why they killed Charlie Kirk.
That Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us. We were on top of it. We actually said it.
See, Charlie Kirk had an awakening as to what's going on. And he got that awakening from people like me and people like Andrew Anglin and people like Nick Fuentes and others who've been saying this for a long time because it's true. Hi. Okay, let me open the door for you. You're going to shut off the water. Okay, go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to this. Charlie Kirk.
Different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But
okay, listen, Charlie, I believe this is why they killed Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk came to understand what was going on. And it was just one more step before Charlie realized that the Jews are not God's chosen people, and that Abraham wasn't a Jew, and Jacob wasn't a Jew, and Moses wasn't a Jew, and Noah wasn't a Jew, and Shem wasn't a Jew, and none of them were Jews. And they were Aramaic people, as I've said many times. It came down from the Caucasus down into Egypt, and they started a new religion when they were in Egypt. And then when they came out of that, they had this new code of the Word of God is light, and they wrote that into all their old books, and that became the religion of the Israelites. But what made them special or chosen was that they followed God. You see, they followed this new religion. That's what made them the chosen. That's what made them special. Otherwise, they were just like these other Aramaic people that lived all over the place. So it wasn't like they were a special race. They were a race of people who called themselves, picked by God or chosen by God or loved by God because they followed God. See, that was the whole point. And that's explained in Christianity by John the Baptist and Jesus Christ in the story of Jesus, who's the Logos, the Word of God incarnate as a man who argues with the rabbis and gets killed at a place called Golgotha. See, the whole idea is expressed in the story of Jesus being murdered by the rabbis. Well, these rabbis just appear to me to have just murdered Charlie Kirk, because it's not just rabbis. The rabbis are an instrument of a mafia group, which includes rabbis and banking and industry and taking over the AI sector and getting control of the weapons and getting control of the politicians and the religious leaders and using blackmail against them through the Jeffrey Epstein network. That's the whole thing. And killing off the white people because they're insane. They just want to kill everybody. It's a psychotic, satanic cult. Charlie Kirk was in that with them, and then he starts to break away. Why does he break away? Because we kept talking to him, and he kept breaking away and breaking away and breaking away. And they were losing control of Charlie Kirk, and I believe that's why they killed him.
Listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by Jewish donors in the country.
You're right, Charlie, man. I miss you, and I feel bad for your kids. They took away a father from a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. They took away a father from a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. They took a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old's father away from them. Man, I'm going to have to end off.